So it's Christmas Eve, and we are at number 2. Now, alongside this, after this, I'm going to be posting another video with some honourable mentions before the big day tomorrow. So if you want to go check that out as well, I've got some pretty weird opinions on, what other games I didn't include and why I didn't include them and why they were alright, I guess. So, without further ado, number 2 is Far Cry 3. Now, this game was fantastic. I loved it. I mean, I played Far Cry 2, and it was okay. It was kind of mediocre. I mean, the whole malaria thing was kind of off-putting, but the fire. I loved the fire aspect. How the fire would act realistically and sort of burn places around it. That came back. They brought that back in Far Cry 3. But the main thing about Far Cry 3 wasn't its gameplay. That was great. Side note. It was the characters and the story and the world, because this place was pretty much built on insanity. The whole premise of the game was like insanity and stuff like that, and the characters added to that, because most of these characters, pretty much most of the characters you met were insane in their own sort of way, and especially Vaas. So if any of you know of Vaas, he is I'd say the main antagonist of this game. I mean, I know he disappears halfway through the game, spoiler alert, but don't deal with that. Don't think of it as, he's not the main antagonist, because he was the best. He was amazing. The guy, thumbs up to the guy, props to the guy. I mean, you voiced a great character. I think his name is Michael something. Sorry, but he is an amazing voice actor that just really embodied this role of this crazy, just weirdo, this psychopath. And he's like, I think he's my favourite character of all time, pretty much, because he's just amazing. His dialogue was awesome. The way he said everything, the way he acted, the way he expressed all of these different feelings. It was just great to hear him just be sort of weird kind to you, sort of strange kind to you, and then he just goes full blown out psycho at times. It was just really fun to watch this character just play out his role. And apart from that, the story was great. It was really satisfying. It gave me one of the best endings ever. It was one of those endings where I just sat there and went, well, what do I do now? Because, it was great. The way it ended, it was kind of a random thing that happened at the end. I didn't really expect that to happen. But, it was kind of like a random occurrence. It wasn't really something you could see coming, which I guess was good. Because, a game where you can pretty much predict what's going to happen isn't really that good. But it was a great story right through. You start off as this group of friends who skydive into these islands, but then get captured by these psychotic, pretty much pirates, they're called. And it's just amazing. You get caught, then you have to fight your way out, and then once you've done that, you have to find all your friends and stuff like this, and start doing all of these things to help yourself get off of these islands and get home. And it was just brilliant. I mean, I praise these games a lot, and that's because they deserve the praise they need. It's because they're so good, they're so great, they just really get to you. I mean, I just indulged myself in this game for hours upon hours at a time. And even when the story would just sort of divert off into a different way and I'd go do something else, I still had fun doing that different thing. So you had these territories, pretty much, sort of these little bases where you'd have to kill everyone inside to sort of take it over. And so once you've done that, all of these Rakyat warriors, I believe they're called Rakyat warriors, would come in and take over that, because these were sort of your friends. So once you've done that, that base is yours, and then that territory becomes free of these sort of pirates. I'm gonna say it becomes free of all enemies, and then those were really fun to go about because they'd be different each time. So you'd approach it differently. I don't know. You might all approach it in a stealthy kind of way, but when it comes down to it, you'd approach it in a different sort of stealthy way. So, you know, there might be a cage with a tiger in there, so you might, you know, silently open the cage, allowing the tiger to pretty much kill everyone. Or you just go around stabbing everyone, or you could pick them off afar with a sniper. And so you had all these different ways you could approach these bases, and missions as well. You could approach missions differently. And then you had I think it's the warrior trials, which were sort of like little trials where you had to do something like kill about 5 people in under 10 seconds or something. I mean, I didn't do many of them. I think I did about 2. So I don't really have much to comment on them. Then you had the hunting trials, sort of hunts where you would have to kill a certain animal to get its pelt. Same with hunting flowers and stuff like that. There was a lot of sort of like hunting and tracking and stuff like that. And then you had your weaponry and this level up system. So weapons you could get from like a weapon dealer, or you could pick them up, and then you could sort of mod them to have different things. So you could have one that had a sight, one that had extra ammo, stuff like this, one with a silencer. And then you had the leveling up system, which was pretty cool. And the way this worked was you'd have this tattoo on your arm, and the more you added perks, the more you'd get on this tattoo, so the greater the tattoo became as you got more perks, and the way you get these perks is by leveling up, and then you get like a point, and you could put one of those points. I don't know if you had to have a certain amount of points to unlock. God, I'm saying everything so weird today. To unlock a certain skill. But I think, you know, you get these points, you'd use them to unlock a skill, and then you'd have that skill, and it would open up a tree to another skill. So there'd be sort of like a tree of skills, instead of just, you know, do you want to just get this? Yes. Do you want to get this then? Yes. And it was really cool to use all these different skills. I think one of them was the ability to sort of slide and stab people. I think another one was be able to drag people away. I don't know why that needed to be a skill. I think another one would be, you know, have better aim with a bow. I think you'd have criticals if you were sneaking with a bow. Stuff like that. They're all pretty random, some pretty cool. And then you had the world. The world was gorgeous. You know, in comparison to Fallout 3, which I talked about previously, you know, how I said Fallout 3 is sort of dull, grey and depressing, and there's nothing really around for miles, which made it so great because that was its intended purpose. It was meant to be dull, grey and depressing. But Far Cry 3 wasn't. It was bright, it was lush with the, you know, the flowers, all the different, you know, flora, all these different things, all the trees, all the grass, just the entire area. It just looked beautiful. It looked great, everything moved dynamically. If you were like sort of skulking through the grass, tall grass would move apart and stuff like that. And just seeing this bright world was amazing. It really felt like you were on one of these sort of Caribbean islands, and it was great. You had the sparkling water and the animals, you know, all the different wildlife really added to that atmosphere. And then once you got up on top of these cell towers, I believe, which is part of like these little things that you have to do to be able to see what's around yourself. So if you took out these cell towers, you'd get stuff on the map. And once you saw these cell towers, you'd have sort of this panoramic view of the world for like a little cinematic panoramic sort of spin around. And to see all that was great. You'd see the depth of this world, how far you could go. you could see for miles and it looked amazing. So pretty much, it's not one of those games where you look at it and go, oh, that's pretty, but I probably couldn't go there. It's one of those games where you look at it and go, can I get there? Yes, I can. Because that's what it was. It was just a world where you could go anywhere you want, and it looked amazing. It was just a beautiful piece of art, pretty much, to just look at all of these surroundings. And I don't really think I have much else to say about Far Cry 3. Gameplay was good, you know, the stealth things and the fire mechanic was really cool, how things would catch on fire. I mean, it got repetitive, but it wasn't bad repetitive, because every bit about the gameplay was just fun, doing all these different things, the combos, the sort of connected kills, and Far Cry 3 was just freaking amazing. Characters were dynamic and great. I loved Vass, I loved Hoyt. Everyone was sort of crazy, and everyone sort of just had their own little craziness. And the ending was just superb. Soundtrack was great. I freaking love some of the music on this game, and I just, if I could give this game a rating, I would give it 10 out of 10. Which is weird considering it's not my top game. But you know, we're almost there, so before I go, and before we reveal the #1 spot tomorrow, I want to just say thank you all for watching this series, if you have been doing. I also recommend that you check out Carry On Plays and his countdown, because he's nearing the end alongside me. It's been a wonderful trip to see both our countdowns, you know, progress to what they are now. And I hope it's been great for you as the viewers watching it. And so yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, so I will see you tomorrow on a very Merry Christmas day. Ta-ra!